a care coordinator with Dementia 360, which is part of the Presbyterian Senior Care Network. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that is later. I am a recreational therapist by trade. I'm also a certified dementia practitioner and a personal care home administrator. So I've done that in the past 20 years and 30 years. I've worked in long-term care, and now I'm working kind of more in the in-home aspect of things. So this morning we're going to talk about meaningful engagement and the importance of activities and routine. It's a fun topic, especially for a rec therapist. So what is meaningful engagement? People automatically think of coloring books, of crossword puzzles, of bingo, things that you typically would see in a day, things to maybe stimulate your brain. But if everyone with dementia specifically, and we'll talk about dementia, but it really applies to everybody. When they get the diagnosis, we don't want them to stick to like one activity. So there's lots of things that this involves. It involves exercise, which is one thing that Life in Motion is really good at doing. Social activities, hygiene activities, household activities, cleaning things, picking up a rag and wiping the table, or folding laundry. Things that matter to me, things that are important to me. I have a family member who was really into quilting, and she's not able to quilt anymore, but she can still do some of the tasks associated with quilting. She can still cut fabric, and she can still cut into squares, into strips. She can use a pin and pin fabric together. So there are things that you can break down into smaller tasks with almost any activity. There's cognitive activities to keep your brain active. There's spiritual activities, creative, social, lots of different things. So when you think of meaningful engagement, tell me some things that you think of. Maybe for yourself, if not for somebody else. It could be any one of these topics. Any ideas?
Participating in mass or worship.
Yes, right, exactly. That's an important one. And that can be done many ways. It can be done not only in church, but it can be done via Zoom. There's YouTube videos, you can read the Bible. There's lots of ways to incorporate spiritual. Volunteering, that's an excellent one. And people with dementia, we try to find volunteer opportunities for them because they can still do that. It's something that a lot of people can still do. So we want to match their interests though. So if they like to work with kids, maybe they can read books to children or things like that. So yes, volunteering is great. Anything else? Things that are important to you. How do you fill your day with meaning?
Staying active.
Yes, staying active. You come to Life in Motion.
Coming to Life in Motion, right?
Yeah, and do their boxing classes or do other classes that they have. Okay, that's a big one. Exercise is important. You want to stay active, keep your body strong. That helps prevent falls. Anything else?
Making coffee.
Making coffee. Yes, yes. Working in the kitchen. Talking about people with living with dementia, they may not be able to follow through with making a grocery list, going to the store, buying all the things, finding all the things. But you might be able to break down some of those tasks and do it with them, or you might be able to find things that they can do in the kitchen. So I have another family, she's unable to really cook anymore, but she can sit down and she can peel the carrots, and she can set the table and do things like that. And then as those skills decrease, she can sort silverware, or she can, fold the kitchen towels. There's lots of things in the kitchen that you can find to do. Polish silverware. We call it, you might think of it as busy work, but it's really not busy work if it's matching her ability and her, giving her something to attend to. So that could, it might last 5 minutes, it might last 2 hours, but that's filling her day with purpose and meaning, and that's important.
So my mom is 94. She doesn't have dementia, but my sister lives with her and does many of those things that you're just saying. Like she'll put out the ingredients and say, "You feel like it, cook out, clean, cut the salad, yeah, so exactly what you're saying, but fold the laundry.
Right. Because everybody needs purpose. Doesn't matter if you have dementia or not. Very good. Why is it important? Well, living with dementia can hurt your self-confidence. It can cause depression. It affects their ability to plan, like I said earlier. And they can't really think about what comes next or how to initiate activity. So unfortunately, that kind of falls on the caregiver, whether it's a spouse, a child, an in-home caregiver, a neighbor, to help that person find things to do and initiate those. So if my dad had dementia and my grandmother had dementia. If I gave my grandmother a carrot and a peeler and sit down in front of her, she would have no idea what to do with it. But if I pick it up and I sit down next to her and I start peeling a carrot and I hand it to her and help her get started, she was fine. She could do that. And so that's where the caregiver comes in to help initiate those activities. And then using up energy during the day helps them to sleep at night. They're not up wandering, they're sleeping better, the caregiver gets their sleep, because that's one of the top reasons that people are placed, is because the caregiver is not getting enough sleep. They have to be up all night and up all day too, and that just doesn't work, especially as you get older. It's the very best way to prevent unfavorable behaviors. Now, not everyone who has dementia has behaviors. You know, you see the commercials on TV, oh, my mom's having behaviors, we have to give her a medication for it. Well, we don't want to medicate people if we don't have to. We want to try to learn how to communicate with the person better to prevent those behaviors, because most often than not, it's on us. We're causing the behaviors, whether it's the way we're communicating with them, if it's the environment, if it's too loud, too hot, too cold, too noisy. And so we have to be really investigators of what's causing that behavior. Is it something within them? Are they hungry? Are they thirsty? Do they need to go to the bathroom? Are they in pain? So, we're investigating and trying to figure out what's causing that behavior. But if they are engaged in activity throughout the day, they may sleep better through the night. And as my boss always says, if you want someone not to do something, you have to give them something else to do. And that goes the same for people who get on what we call a loop. Like maybe it might be, I want to go home, or I'm looking for my mother. And if they keep asking that same question over and over, we want to pivot and change the subject. We want to say, oh yes, we do need to get home. Let me finish dinner first and then we'll go. So we're going to agree with them. We're never going to say you are home. So we're gonna say yes. We'll go later. I need to cook dinner, and then change the subject. Here, help me do this, because it changes the subject and gets them off of that loop. And then also asking them to help you do something is really important, because who doesn't want to help somebody? And so I'll frequently say, can you help me? It'll just take like 5 minutes. And really, it might take 10 or 15 or an hour, but who doesn't want to help for 5 minutes? And of course they want to help you because you're their family members. Using their brain and their skills is good for their brain. What you do for me, you take from me. So if somebody's able to get dressed, or if somebody's able to do things, you don't want to do it for them as much as possible. I know it might be faster, might be easier, but we really want to take the time and allow them to do as much as they can for themselves. I give the example of getting dressed. Frequently we see people layering clothes. They have pajamas on, and maybe they pull their pants over their pajama bottoms, or they have their bra on top of their clothes, or they are layering sweaters because they feel cold. If they're not going out and they're staying at home and it's not a safety issue, let them do it. They did it independently. They have they build up their self-esteem. Now, if they're going out, obviously you want them to look appropriate, and you want to help them change their clothes. But if they're doing it independently, that's what we want them to do. And meaningful engagement is important because it makes the day fun, which is good for them and it's good for you. Who doesn't love fun? It's fun to see the girls today all dressed up for Halloween. We have shirts, there's candy. Everybody loves fun. Even like as an example, at work yesterday, we had us like a little surprise pop-up lunch and we all dressed up. There's only 6 of us, there's 6 care coordinators. We all dressed up, we had a little potluck lunch, and it just like was such a great like team building thing, and that's wonderful for families to do too. You know, you want to build those relationships by doing those things. Think about all of the steps it takes to vacuum the carpet. So you have to find the vacuum cleaner. It might be in a closet with the door closed. You have to know how to operate it. You have to know where you want to vacuum. And so all of those steps are very difficult for someone living with dementia. So we want to break it down. Maybe leave the door open to find the vacuum easier. Maybe get a vacuum that's very easy on off. It's something that you don't have to like step on to open it or whatever it is. So yeah, making things simpler, but allowing them to do it. Or finding the vacuum and handing it to them. Here, can you help me today? I really could use you to help you. Can you help me vacuum? Just this room right here. And I have one caregiver. It's a wife taking care of her husband, and he'll do just about anything for her. He loves to do windows. He loves to vacuum, but of course he doesn't always do it in her, the best way she would like it. But he's doing it, and that's the important thing. The important thing is that he's doing it, and he feels good about it because he's helping her. It's not about the end result. Any questions about that so far?
Yeah, are there different levels, like, of when they can do things and as the disease progresses?
Sure. So we'll talk just a second about dementia itself. Dementia is like an overarching umbrella. Now, I didn't bring that presentation and that information, but dementia is kind of like an overarching umbrella term, kind of like cancer would be. And then there's all types of dementias or things that cause dementia underneath that, with Alzheimer's being the number one. Just like there's all types of cancers, there's about 200 types of dementia or things.
So is there dementia without Alzheimer's? Is Alzheimer's its own separate?
Alzheimer's is the primary cause of dementia, yes. So, and then you have, Parkinson's can cause it. Alcoholism can cause dementia. Here's an interesting little tidbit. There are types of dementias, like, for example, I could have depression, and I could show signs of dementia. But if I get that depression treated, those signs of dementia may go away. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, and that's not for most dementias, but there are some treatable types of things that will get rid of the dementia. But Alzheimer's, there's no cure for. Parkinson's, there's Lewy body, there's from strokes, there's one called, for boxing, dementia pugilistica from head injuries. We see that with football players and boxers and all of that. So there's all different types of dementia, and yes, as they go through the disease, it makes it more difficult to do things, so you need to break things down to make it simpler.
So if somebody is diagnosed with a cognitive decline, does that move into dementia eventually?
Cognitive decline is kind of like a generic term. So yes, it could be more specific later into Alzheimer's or Lewy body or something like that.
Okay.
There's like mild cognitive impairment, which is a precursor to Alzheimer's generally. Okay, so what dementia does not change, and the point of this slide is that people need to do things that matter. They need to be needed, they need to be useful, they need to have purpose, to make choices, to have self-esteem, to have the opportunity to care for a pet, a person, to love and be loved. So at the end of the day, they need to feel like what they did was important and that their existence really matters. And if they're tired, tired from a day well spent. Think about it. If I can't initiate activity and I'm laying on the couch all day, I'm not going to be tired at night. So let's think about someone who is into everything, who's always very busy. Maybe that they were a homemaker and they took care of the home. They did meals. They took care of the children. They took care of 6 kids and a husband. And she's used to being busy, and now she has dementia, and she doesn't have a lot planned for her. So now she's starting to rummage. She's going through drawers, and she's packing things up, and she's taking things out. And of course, the caregiver's pulling their hair out because they're doing this on a daily basis, and they're putting things back, and they're doing it again. Well, we want to give them some purpose. We want to think about, like, giving them things that she could do. We don't want to say, sit down and watch TV, Mom. Here, you sit right here. I'm going to turn the TV on. Because her attention to that TV most likely is not going to, A, fulfill her, and B, she's not going to understand what the show is about. Because they lose the ability to understand, number one, whether that's real or not. So if I'm watching the news, if we're watching the news and my dad is watching the news, he may believe that that fire that they're showing on Pittsburgh is happening to him or to his family member, and now he's upset. There's a fire, and where's the fire? So we want to kind of limit what they watch on TV or be careful about what they watch on TV. Frequently we encourage I Love Lucy, Andy Griffith, all of those old happy shows that we all loved once before. You love them? I do too. I love Lucy.
Involved with another group, and they occasionally ask questions of the group. This is a tough conversation starting. It was all about what is the oldest show, comedy or otherwise, that you remember growing up. People love talking about it. Every time you MASH, oh yeah, who's on? So it's,
Do you have a favorite?
anyway.
Andy Griffith.
Oh my God.
I love it too. Little Opie, he's just so cute.
We were just talking about Caregiver.
Yes.
After our other class.
Right. Now, Carol Burnett is a wonderful show to watch, but sometimes the humor isn't always gotten. Like, how kids, it's over their heads. Sometimes it's over their heads. So yes, instead we want to involve this housewife of 6 children and a husband and everything else. We want to give her things that make her feel useful. So we want to give her purpose. We want to give her things in the kitchen to do. We want to give her laundry to fold. And it may not be necessarily laundry that you just pulled out, like clean laundry. Throw some towels in the laundry, warm them up. Can you help me fold these towels, please? When you're done with them, put them back in the laundry. Do them again. It gives them purpose until they're tired of it.
I have a question.
Sure.
Occasionally, I get asked or at least mentioned that I need to do folding in. I can imagine if you in her shoes and you're folding all the time. You feel being appreciated. My question is, should there be that kind of going on their own, and also have some sort of quality control over how
let it go and let them do it. My husband and I fold our towels differently, and I just shove them in the closet because I'm happy they're done. That's a good question. That's a really good question. You know, it's not about the process. It's not about the end result. It's about the process. It's about doing it. You know. Yeah, that's a great question. I loved it. So that brought up another issue, but I can't think what it was. So what if I don't help them with this? Frequently you find people sleeping on the couch or taking a nap. They might be nodding off in front of the TV or not doing anything at all. So they, like I said earlier, they need your help to figure out what to do next. What's the next step going to be? And so routine is important. Let's see. Make sure I got everything here. Sometimes they appear lazy, right? You think somebody's lazy because they're not doing things. An example of this here I have is mowing the grass. So frequently, like my dad used to love to mow the grass. And he couldn't do it anymore with the mower because there's a lot of steps to that. So we got him a little push mower. You know, it's safe, it's not gonna hurt him, and we let him go out and mow the grass with that push mower. And you know, he didn't do his straight lines and that didn't matter, but it gave him purpose, he got exercise, he was up off the couch, and even if he could only do it for 20 minutes, you know, may not have gotten the whole yard done at once, but he could do it, take a break, we could get him to go back out later, do it again. There's so many healthy benefits to them. So it's just breaking things down, and that's one of the things that we recommend, is figuring out how to do that. Let's see, yes, we just want to adapt, because who doesn't want to feel needed? So they need your help. So the meaning behind what you see, he sits in front of the TV all day because he doesn't know what to do next. She gets restless later in the day because she's bored from not doing anything all day. He follows me all over the house because he's not sure what he's supposed to be doing. She's constantly into everything because she wants to be busy and is looking for something to do. And every time I ask her if she wants to do something, she says no. Well, 7 out of 10 times, if you ask somebody with dementia if they would like to do something, they're going to say no. They're comfortable where they are. They don't want to go leave their house typically. So you want to rephrase it. Would you like to wash the dishes or would you like to dry the dishes? Would you like to go to the bank with me or would you like to take a walk? So it's kind of, there is no no, there is no yes. It's which one do you want? We do this a lot for mealtime because as the disease progresses, they don't necessarily know what food is. So if I say a hamburger or a grilled cheese, I may not know what that means, but if I see it, I would recognize it, or one looks familiar to me, or it might just look delicious. So if you give them a choice and show them, it kind of helps with that, the decision-making process. Change how you ask it. Don't say, do you want to? Give 2 choices. Ask, will you help me? Because who doesn't want to help? Make it fun. I have a surprise for you. We're going to go somewhere and there's going to be somebody you want to see there. For less exciting things, getting some fresh air instead of exercising. You know, don't use that nasty E word, exercise. We want to say, you know, let's get some fresh air, or let's take a walk, or a big one is showering and bathing. For some reason, my grandmother just did not want to take a shower. But if we said, you want a spa day, you know, and you're getting your hair done and your nails done, we could get her into the shower that way. And then there's also setting up the spot, you know, setting up the room so it's warm. Get the water running, if you have a little heater or a heat lamp, or just get the room warm, because who wants to go into a cold bathroom and take off your clothes and get in the shower? So if you warm it up, get that heat going, that might help as well. You know, let's get freshened up. A shower doesn't have to be sitting on sitting in the shower or standing in the shower. A shower can be sitting on the toilet getting a sponge bath. As long as you're clean and getting clean, that's what matters. And find some failure-free activities like painting, drawing, listening to music. Those are important. Woo, missed a couple. Failure-free activities. So I love Uno cards. Uno cards are so versatile. And I was going to bring some today and I forgot to bring them. But so you can play Uno. Do you all know what Uno is? Card game, colors, numbers. So you can. It's a nice, simple game, and you can play with 2 people. You can play with 6 people. But it's a great thing because you can play it with rules. You can play it without rules. You can sort cards by number. You can sort cards by color. You can stack the cards. You can, there's so many versatile things that you can do with a set of Uno cards. And let me tell you, during COVID, when I worked in long-term care, they were in my pocket all the time for all my visits with big people. So we always had Uno cards, or just a deck of cards, because same thing, you can use a deck of cards to sort, to stack, to play. War is a wonderful game. You just have to have the higher number. So yeah, and those are typically failure-free. And even if you play Uno and it's not by the rules, that's okay. It's not about the end result, it's about the process. So during the activity, we want to be supportive and reassuring. We want to help them get started. We want to give one step at a time. Use less words. This is hard for women, right? I know I talk too much. I talk too fast. So when I'm speaking to somebody who's living with dementia, I want to try to use 5 words or less. 5 words or less. That's a challenge. Come with me. Sit down. Let's have dinner. Let's go to the store. Because it takes a lot of brain power to process information, and so the less words you use, the better. And then they also need maybe 30 to 90 seconds to respond. So if you're asked a question, would you like to wear the pink shirt or the blue shirt? It sometimes can take 30 to 90 seconds for them to receive that question, process it, and answer it. You might be on to the next question when they're still answering the last question. And I've seen that. So just think about that. Give time. 30 seconds is a long time to sit and wait for an answer. And unfortunately, the person with dementia can't change. We have to change. We have to learn how to speak dementia. We have to learn their language. And that's part of it. Use less words and demonstrate. Sometimes they have trouble getting their words out. I had a gentleman who was so frustrated. He wanted something. And he was so frustrated trying to tell us what it was. And I said, show me what it is you want. And he went like this. What do you think he wanted? A belt. He wanted his belt. You want your belt? Oh, he was so happy. He figured it out. He got his belt. He felt better. If it's something less pleasant, like bathing, keep them talking about something else. Give them something else to think about while you're doing it. Rewards are great. We had somebody who would take showers for Snickers bars. I just found recently I have a woman who loves to have her nails done. She loves her nails done. Her daughter does her nails. She paints them. I said, well, that's the perfect opportunity to say, let's go get freshened up because I'm going to do your nails when we're done. So, her mom hates to shower. Will not get in the shower at all. But that's one tip that we're going to try. And help if they struggle, but don't take it over. We see this a lot with crafts, or we see this with dressing. Help them, but don't just do it for them. Thank them for their help, and remember that the goal is participation, not perfection, and not the end result. Okay, so we're not going to make a list on paper, but think about 5 things that you can do to keep your family member engaged during the day. It doesn't have to be new things. In fact, I don't want it to be new things. New things are hard to learn. We want to do things from their past. So, just think think in your head real quick here, is there anything that you can think of that you can do with someone or yourself to stay engaged throughout the day? I have a gentleman who loved to run. He ran marathons, lots of marathons. And now he can't go as far or run. So what do you think he could do instead? Walk. Yes, walk. What else? Anything else? Any other ideas you can think of?
Like a stationary bicycle or a treadmill?
Yep, perfect. I was even thinking about the little pedal machines. You know, if he couldn't get on the exercise bike, the little pedal machine he could do. What else that's not actual exercise could we do that involves running? We could look at books about tennis shoes, different shoes and shoemakers. You know, what kind of shoes did you like to wear? Recently, we had a memory cafe. I don't know if you've ever heard of a memory cafe. This isn't in my presentation. We'll talk about it. So a memory cafe is an opportunity, it's a social opportunity for the caregiver to bring their loved one, and it's a social event. Like we have a pizza, it's called a pizza party. And we have ours up at Shawna's in Oakmont. And it's a time just to get together, have pizza, and it's a safe place for everybody. So if the person's not eating their pizza appropriately, or if they get up to wander around, it's okay. And we had one lady recently, her husband was talking, and he wasn't seeing the visual cues that she wanted to leave. And she's sitting there tapping her leg and her back to him. And she gets up to leave. And so we as care coordinators got up and we engaged her. We talked about her cat. She had a cat. So my coworker found a whole bunch of pictures of cats on Google, because Google is a wonderful tool. And we engaged her for probably a half an hour looking at cats and talking about cats. And then when she pulled up a picture of her dog, she's like, I don't like dogs. So we went back to the cats. So, you know, there's lots of things that you can do spur of the moment, you know, very quickly to engage somebody. There's, you know, movies about running. There's, you know, lots of things you can do with running. Using routine as a tool. Habits are kept in a different part of the brain. So habits that they have developed over the years may still be present during dementia. It's automatic and familiar. So you can help build these routines to make sure that they have purpose throughout the day. And that includes, you know, getting up at the same time every day, making sure that there's a good breakfast, having some type of activity before lunch, not just necessarily sitting and watching TV. Having lunch, doing something in the afternoon, and then winding down, not doing crazy exercise and doing lots of, you know, aerobic activity or things in the evening, but winding down. And watching TV is not necessarily a bad thing. You can certainly do it. There's lots of great shows, Andy Griffith. But we just want to watch what we watch. I had one lady, she loved to watch CSI, which, oh, you know, she was fine with it, but then somebody else would walk in and watch it with her, and then we'd have trouble because they would see people dying. Not the best show.
Do they still maintain what we call muscle memory at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes, yes. Like, I had a woman who loved to play the piano, and she could play without music, and she could play through most of her disease process. She could still play music. I had one gentleman who knew every word to every hymn that you would ever want to know. And he was a chemist who spoke 12 languages, and he ended up with Alzheimer's. And towards the end of the disease, he was not able to speak anymore, but he could still sing a hymn. You start playing that hymn, he could sing it. So it's that long-term memory. It was ingrained in him. How to use routine as a tool. So if you know your husband loves to eat breakfast but forgets or resists changing his clothes, build a routine that he changes his clothes right before breakfast. their usual time is. Do they like showers in the morning, in the evening? Do they like it before they go to church on Sundays? Do they want to do it on Saturday? My grandmother took 1 shower a week on Saturdays before she went to church on Sunday. So we want to stick to those routines. If she's restless in the evening, build in a relaxing activity. Use lavender. Lavender is a great thing. Make sure people, if you have in-home caregivers, come at the time that they normally do things. If they shower in the evening, have the caregiver come in the evening. It just kind of makes sense. But common sense is not common to everybody, right? And if toileting is an issue and he looks forward to taking the dog for a walk, guide him towards the bathroom before he takes the dog for a walk. And sometimes it's about different people also. The husband may not be able to get his wife into the shower, but maybe one of the kids can. My dad did not want help from my mom, but he would allow my sister and me to help. So tips for using routine as a tool. When you find a strategy that works, use it every day. That doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow, but try it. Try it again next week. It might work for a week, it might work for months, and then it may not work again. But if you find something, and share that with other caregivers. As their abilities change, be flexible and know you'll need to adapt the routine. If they used to set the table and that's becoming more difficult, just try giving them the spoons to put out, and then the forks, and then the knives. Okay, so 2 big tools and takeaways. Meaningful activities is keeping a person with dementia meaningfully working on purposeful activities is the single most important thing you can do to prevent and manage behaviors. Because they're engaged in something else. You want to keep them active. And then routine is knowing what to do next, helps a person with dementia as much as possible. And you can also use routine to overcome challenges as well. I have one family who takes his mother out every afternoon, whether it's to the park, to sit on the porch, to go shopping. She likes to buy things, certain items that they have like 12 of at home, and they just let her buy it and then take it back later. Instead of fighting with her and saying, "You have 12 of these at home, you don't need any more," just let her buy it, take it back later. All right, so Dementia 360, because life doesn't prepare anyone to be a caregiver, right? We are a program that helps families in the home. We partner with the caregivers, and we do all kinds of education, training. We provide resources, in-home caregivers, adult day services, life in motion. And so if you're feeling alone, unprepared, stressed, contact us and we can certainly help guide you in the right direction. Does anybody have any questions?
Can we contact you if we need a caregiver?
Well, as part of the program, yes. So yeah, you have to be a part of our program.
Okay.
But I can certainly afterwards, guide you in the right direction. Yeah, caregivers are difficult to find.
What's involved in being part of your program?
So we have a one-time fee to join in, and then we have a monthly fee. And what happens is, so if you were to join, we do an assessment with the caregiver, talking about the person with dementia. We do that privately. We don't want to do it in front of the person living with dementia. And we do that assessment via Zoom usually. Most of our platform is Zoom. We use FaceTime. And then we come out to the house and we do a home visit where we get to meet both of you in person. We tour the house, we do like a safety check. And then after that we do another visit with the caregiver somewhere away from the person living with dementia, and we do what's called a roadmap. And it's kind of like a care plan, and we talk about all of the information that you shared, and we develop goals. And those goals are fluid, because as we know, people living with dementia change, and so what your goal is today might not be what your goal is tomorrow. And so we just help you to learn about dementia education, communication, tips and tricks for dealing with different behaviors, whether it's hallucinations or whether it's striking out. It could be eating and nutrition might be a problem. So we coach you, and then once a month after that, we do like a Zoom call, or you can contact us in the meantime with any concerns. So that's what the program is.
Are you guys only in the Pittsburgh area, or are you everywhere?
We have expanded. So we originally, the program started out as a grant program about 5 or 6 years ago, and they were just in the Oakmont area. But we now have clients as far as Erie and Washington, PA. I had a client out on the West Coast actually once. We did all of that virtually. So yes, we are expanding our region.
So, like, if you were to do something far away, you could see people virtually.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, most of our program is virtual. It's just those few times that we do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you do the home visit if you have someone on the West Coast?
We did a FaceTime. She walked me around her house via FaceTime or Zoom. Yeah, showed me the house. The person in Erie did the same thing. Gave me a lovely tour. Sometimes better than the ones in person. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, yes.
Is part of this covered with the health insurance now?
It is not currently. We are working with UPMC Community Health Choices for our program right now with them, but otherwise, no, it's not covered. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Someday it could be. We're working on that.
Right.
That would be nice.
So is this still called home care, or is it called dementia care?
This is called Dementia Care. It's Dementia 360, and it's for the caregiver. We support the caregiver.
So home care is definitely different.
Home
Part of
care is
the program.
different, yes. That's something that we help you find in-home caregiver agencies that can come to the home.
What do you think the problem is in the North Hills if we can't get too many of these?
I don't know. Well, you know what? So there's a nursing shortage anyway in the country, and people after COVID especially, there's a shortage in long-term care communities, in home care agencies. So it's just difficult. And I have found a few agencies recently that do have some caregivers in the area. So it seems like they're trying, but for a while there, they did not have them.
Additionally, if anyone is interested, we do have a list of some in-home caregivers, not specifically for dementia, but just in general. If anybody is interested in that list, I have a few copies over there for the area.
So if you're interested in more information about Dementia 360, I do have a sign-up sheet with your email and phone number. My boss will reach out to you. And also I wanted to pass this out to everybody. There's an Dementia Caregiver Symposium coming up. It's all via Zoom. It's on December 17th from 10 to 1. It's 3 hours. And it's through the Alzheimer's Association, the Pennsylvania Association of the Area Agencies on Aging, and AARP. I'm actually on the planning committee for this, so we're working on this. And there's information here where you can register, and I'll leave these two for you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And I also have brochures here for Dementia 360 that you're welcome to take as well.